America, we are back, baby. Welcome to another episode of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides. We have a great show for you tonight, everybody. We got a lot of different topics to talk about. Please remember to like, smash the follow button, leave a comment if you have any questions. For our topics today, we have Ghislaine having her second meeting behind closed doors with Donald Trump's personal lawyer. We'll talk about the implications of this meeting, what is most likely going to happen with her testimony, and if Donald Trump will pardon her. We've talked about the pardon before. We even joked about the Free Ghislaine movement on this podcast the same way Alex Jones was, but it seems like the movement is becoming real. Ghislaine could be free from jail as soon as the next few months. This is a very sad time for America if this is actually happening. We'll talk about all that. We'll talk about Donald Trump's new legislation and executive orders to try and clean up the homeless mess that has been around the entire United States, specifically in our bigger cities like Los Angeles, New York City, Chicago. The homelessness needs to stop, and Donald Trump is finally putting an end to it. It is a huge win for America. We have more information coming out of the MLK files. We talked about this the other day. They released over 230,000 independently downloadable PDF documents. This made it very hard to go through each one because you could not just have a search function, which would be very easy. We'll go over all the incriminating evidence that came out in the MLK files. We'll talk about why housing prices are going through the roof in this country. We talk about it all the time, how asset managers, especially BlackRock, are lobbying within our government, and they are raising the prices of single-family homes, pricing out future generations from being able to buy homes. But beyond that, there is new reasons and new data being shown to Americans to show that it's not just the people in these big corporations. It is also foreign citizens who are costing you your ability to buy a home. We have these topics. We have the T-app being hacked. We have Trump talking about Obama and the Russia hoax. We have the national debt giving Americans the opportunity to pay it down. Like I said, we have a lot of different topics today, a ton to go over, a great show for you tonight, everyone. So please remember to like, smash the follow button, leave a comment, but let's get right into the show tonight, everybody. To dive into our first topic, I want to talk a little bit about Jeffrey Epstein. I know we've been talking about it for almost 3 weeks now, but it is the number one thing in the media. It is the number one topic in the country. Donald Trump is burying the Jeffrey Epstein information right in front of our eyes. The Department of Justice is completely corrupt and guilty in this. New information is coming out today. Donald Trump gave an inscribed book to Jeffrey Epstein. In the book, Donald Trump wrote, "You are the greatest," with his signature. If anyone else has seen Donald Trump's signature, and I'm sure we all have, he has signed hundreds of executive orders in a very public way. But if you've seen these executive orders, and if you have seen his signature, you know it is very hard to double, very hard to duplicate, very hard to forge. I think this is real. I think that this letter that Donald Trump seems to have given Jeffrey Epstein within the book, it seems to be another letter on top of the Wall Street Journal letter we already saw, negating everything Donald Trump said previously. Donald Trump said that his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein ended in 1999. We are finding out that that is completely untrue. We're finding out that not only did he give a letter for Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday in 2004, 5 years past that, but in 2003 as well, he gave him a signed copy of one of his books with a personal note written on the inside of this book. This just goes to show there is a lot more to the relationship of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein that we are not seeing, that the media might have some more information on, but they're slowly releasing to see what Donald Trump will lie about. That's how Wall Street Journal played Donald Trump recently. They wanted to see if Donald Trump would lie about the doodles. They wanted to see if Donald Trump would lie about the birthday letter. They wanted to see what Donald Trump would lie about. And then the second he lied, they released the information, not only showing that Donald Trump is guilty in this Epstein scandal, but that Donald Trump is facilitating the cover-up of his own name. He is making it seem like he was never guilty or never involved in pedophilic acts or criminal acts with Jeffrey Epstein in any way, but it's seeming to be very untrue. We don't have definitive evidence to show that Donald Trump was involved in pedophilic acts, but we do have evidence to show that Donald Trump is covering it up, that Donald Trump is protecting Jeffrey Epstein from beyond the grave. We had Ghislaine Maxwell yesterday have her first meeting behind closed doors with Donald Trump's personal attorney. Not only is it corrupt that he is having his personal attorney do this meeting, but when Ghislaine returned back to the jail, Ghislaine returned with a white box full of files. We talked about yesterday what this meeting most likely went like. I pictured a Godfather-like scene where they are threatening her to either testify on their behalf to bury their opponents and to spare anyone in the GOP, to spare Donald Trump in return for a pardon, or else they would just kill her. That's how I pictured it. And then to see her returning to her jail cell, returning to her minimum security prison with a white box full of files, just goes to show we most likely are correct. She is going to be studying this information they gave her down to a T. I bet they put on a full-on script in there. I bet they gave her every piece of information that they want her to say. They gave her a list of things they don't want her to say. We are not going to get the truth when she testifies. It is still important she does testify. It is still important that the American people are able to decipher for themselves what she says, if it's true or not. But you can never trust a pedophile. You can never trust Ghislaine Maxwell, the same way you couldn't trust Jeffrey Epstein. We need to know what's actually happening in this scandal. We need to know who's involved. We cannot have people in our government who are involved in pedophilic acts, who are still receiving money, receiving votes, and living their lives out in the open when they should be behind bars or dead. Ghislaine, immediately following this second meeting today, officially requested a pardon from Donald Trump's administration. Donald Trump was asked today as well if he would grant a pardon to Ghislaine Maxwell. His response to that question was, I have not thought about it, but I do have the ability to. Donald, we are not stupid. I know you've thought about it. This is probably all that has been on your mind over the last few weeks, if not few months, because according to the Wall Street Journal and inside sources within the White House, you have known that your names are heavily involved in the files since May. So you have been facilitating this cover-up for the last few months. I think he will pardon her. I most likely think Ghislaine is either going to get pardoned and get killed, or get pardoned and never to be seen again in the public light, to F off to some island, or to Mossad, back to the Mossad headquarters, or wherever she goes. I have a good feeling we are going to get a crock full of shit from Ghislaine in Congress, a bunch of lies, nothing we can trust. Again, her being under oath means nothing when she's a Mossad agent and a pedophile. This is, like I said, a sad day for America, a sad time for America. We have a setup happening right in front of our eyes. She went for a meeting with Trump's personal lawyer. She returns with a box full of files, full of names, full of files, full of testimony that she is supposed to give, a full-on script, we'd imagine. Ghislaine is not to be trusted. This is something that will open the eyes of millions of Americans. As more and more information keeps coming out about Jeffrey Epstein, about Donald Trump, about Ghislaine, about all the inner workings of their relationships, about the also further relationships they had beyond that, it will start to change world and American politics. It will change the economy. One of the reasons they said they do not want to release the Epstein files, and this is not coming from Donald Trump, but alleged anonymous people within the White House are saying that it would literally tank the entire world's economy. That people very high up, very known people in very high up places are guilty in these crimes and are on video in these crimes. In the meeting today with the lawyer, Ghislaine gave over 100 names. So Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Cash Patel spent months and months and months campaigning on the idea that they were going to release Jeffrey Epstein's client list and all information that's relevant. After months of looking for this client list, they said it didn't exist, even after Pam Bondi announced that it was on her desk ready for review. It then just disappears. And then now, Ghislaine is giving 100 names. So you were telling me that while they are searching for the names of the co-conspirators to Jeffrey Epstein, before they concluded their investigation for Jeffrey Epstein, his co-conspirators, anyone else who would be in the black book or anything like that, they did not talk to the one remaining woman who was dating him, who was facilitating the sex trafficking with him. They didn't talk to her once. Not Cash, not Dan, not Pam, not Trump. None of these people. So all these people closed the investigation, said that there is no client list, there is no one else guilty. This entire thing is a Democratic hoax created by Obama, according to Trump. There's no information, no names at all, only to find out that once you talk to Ghislaine, there's at least 100 names she can come up just within the first couple hours. This was a short meeting she had with them today. And whether these are names they fed her yesterday on day one and now she is repeating them back, or it's names that came to her head, Ghislaine is one of the only people alive, beyond just a few others, who actually know all the names of these individuals, who know all the people who are guilty of these crimes. And the fact that the Department of Justice, the FBI, the president himself facilitated the cover-up of the Jeffrey Epstein information without even asking Ghislaine one time who the other co-conspirators are, just shows you that they are guilty, that they are trying to push this out of the media, that they are trying to hide the fact that Donald Trump or Peter Thiel or Lutnick or somebody within the Trump administration is involved with Jeffrey Epstein, was involved with Jeffrey Epstein, was committing pedophilic acts. These are things that need to be rooted out of our government immediately. The people need to stand together. The people need to fight against this. I do want to go on to some of our other topics. We've been talking about Jeffrey Epstein for the last week, so I don't want to talk about him forever. I want to talk about the new executive order Donald Trump is signing today. It has been a very controversial executive order, but one that I very much agree with. I think it will bring a lot of peace to America in a lot of ways. It will make America a lot safer, and I actually think it will make the people who have to use these facilities better. I'm going to explain what the new executive order is. Donald Trump's new executive order essentially takes all the laws from the 1960s that made forced mental institutions illegal. So you weren't allowed to bring people to these mental facilities. They all just went to prison instead, or they stayed homeless past the 1960s. A lot of this was due to the inhumane laws that are, at these facilities, or the inhumane practices, may I say, that were happening at these facilities. They were, abusing these patients. They would tie them up. They would do terrible, terrible things in some cases. So reform on that end is definitely needed. We definitely need high-end healthcare professionals to be taking care of these people. We need people with a ton of patience, a ton of skills to be able to operate in these buildings. But this will be very good because this will have cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, they will be forced to clean up the homelessness on their streets, moving these people to these mental facilities where these people will be able to get treatment. A lot of homeless people end up in jail. A lot of homeless people end up dead. this can prevent a lot of that. This can make a safer environment for a lot of these people, a place where maybe they're not criminals, but they are just crazy. We have had a lack of treatment for people who, we would say are crazy in the last 50, 60 years. We have jacked people up on SSRIs, but haven't actually addressed some of the real problems. And we have thrown some people who need to be in mental institutions just into prison. And that's not going to help them out. It is only going to make their case worse. What they want to do is take the people who are not able to help themselves. So a common misconception about homeless people, and progressive groups like to push this narrative because they like to say like unhoused people instead of homeless. It's so dumb. But they like to push the narrative that all of them are not there by choice, that all of them are only there because of things that were completely out of their control. A lot of these people are drug addicts. A lot of these people are criminals. A lot of these people have severe mental issues that need to be dealt with. A lot of these people cannot function in normal human society without the help that these mental institutions would offer. A therapist isn't going to work. A doctor's not going to work. A hug from their mom's not going to work. None of these things are going to work. You need mental institutions to help rehabilitate these people. These people need to be reintegrated into society eventually. And the only way to do that is to bring them in the right environment with the right control so they are able to figure out what is wrong. If it's a drug problem, then we address the drug issue head on. If it is an alcohol problem, we address the alcohol problem head on. If they have been abused or sexually abused, you address those issues head on. If they are dealing with just mental issues in general, you address those issues and treat the patient. You do not just release them back onto the streets to commit more crimes to end up dead or in jail one day. This will lower crime statistics. This will make our cities safer. It will make it safer for you to walk around during the day, at night, especially if you're a woman. You will not have to deal with the homeless issues in a lot of these big cities no longer. I'm sure some cities will push back. California loves their homeless encampments. They have Skid Row and they are proud of it in California. Gavin Newsom has spent billions and billions and billions of dollars trying to fight homelessness, only to make it 10 times worse since before COVID. Gavin Newsom is one of the worst and least effective governors at getting things accomplished in his state. Gavin Newsom is a joke to politics. Gavin Newsom is going to be one of the people who pushes against this. But why would you push against it? Why would you want homeless people running on your streets? Why would you want them causing crime, making your citizens feel unsafe? Why wouldn't you want to address the issues at hand, which is the fact that a lot of these homeless people are not just homeless because they lost their jobs or because they get kicked out of their house. They are homeless because they are heavily addicted to drugs, because they cannot go an hour without snorting crack, smoking crack, doing coke, doing heroin, doing all these drugs. And then in some cities like Philadelphia, Los Angeles, some of the worse off cities, you're seeing people just bent over on the side of the street on fentanyl. This is not the America I want. The America I want is the America that does what Donald Trump just did, where he signs an executive order that will hopefully eventually get signed into a full law that allows the full reopening of these mental institutions to rehabilitate people and reintegrate them into society eventually, instead of just allowing them to live on our streets, do drugs every single day, and cause problems in our city. And no, not every single homeless person that exists is a drug addict, an alcoholic, or mentally ill. But a lot, if not the vast majority of them are. It is not usually because, like I said, you lost your job or something like that, that you're homeless. It is because of major problems and major life decisions that you chose wrong in your life. You need to make better decisions if you don't want to end up homeless. You need to be proactive about trying to fix your life. You cannot be doing drugs every day and denying the fact that drug addicts will go back to using drugs if you don't give them the correct treatment. I do want to go on to some of our other topics. I don't want to stay on one topic for too long today. The MLK files came out. We talked about the MLK files the other day. We talked about the pushback from MLK's family on the MLK files as well. MLK's family was pushing back on the files being released because of stuff like this that I'm about to talk about. Well, MLK was very effective for the civil rights movement, very effective for Black America overall in getting their agenda pushed through and getting equal rights and things of that nature. He wasn't necessarily a clean or great guy. Outside of his civil rights activism, he was generally not the best role model. He constantly would use extreme profanity like slurs. He was known to have multiple affairs. And now in the unsealed documents, we will not know whether this is 100% true or not until January 31st of 2027 when we get the further releasal of all the documents of MLK. But from the initial releasal from Donald Trump, MLK sat in the room and laughed and offered advice as one of his friends raped a woman. So he sat there watching this woman get raped. He laughed about it and offered advice to his friend on how to cover it up. This is very disgusting, very sad, very grotesque. Things that come out about MLK will and would ruin his legacy, as I talked about. While he was extremely, proactive and very exceptional for Black America in getting his agenda with the Civil Rights Act pushed through, he is not a great role model. He is somebody that, like I said, would commit crimes. He would commit affairs. He would even be a party to rape, apparently. In 2027, January 31st, we will find out for a fact if this is true. Most likely it is. There have been countless reports like this outside of just what was in the documents themselves. There are multiple documentaries about MLK's life outside of the civil rights movement. And like I said, it is not that pretty. I do think MLK was necessary. Getting the civil rights movement pushed through was very necessary in a lot of ways, even though I disagree with some parts of it. I think that the equality and the desegregation, all that is amazing, but the fact that they incentivize people to stop getting married, you get more money if you don't marry your partner and you have a ton of kids and you live in free Section 8 housing, it essentially encouraged Black America to divorce their husbands and to marry the government. Charlie Kirk talks about this all the time. Matt Walsh talks about it all the time. It is a huge problem in Black America, the fact that the Black fatherhood rate has dropped by over 50% in the last 50 years since the civil rights movement has passed. Like I said, the civil rights movement, in a lot of ways, is great. We are all equal. We are all made from God. We all deserve these same rights. But to say that we should give people free money just because of their color of their skin, when statistics show that incentivizing people with free things and continuously giving them these free things doesn't give them a off-ramp from these things. They will stay in that same place for generations. And not only that, they will get worse off. The crime in those demographics will raise, the fatherhood in those demographics will drop, and the grades and the graduation rate will drop as well. We have talked about this before, but there are multiple all-Black schools, essentially high schools in Chicago, where not a single child can read. These are problems that need to be addressed at home. These are problems that need to be addressed in school. We need to address the problems of the civil rights movement. We need to keep the good parts of it in place while removing the bad parts of it that incentivizes people to stay where they're at in life and not work harder to get further and not be on government handouts their entire life. I do not want my tax dollars funding everyone's lifestyle in Section 8 on food stamps just because they do not want to work. They want to abuse and game the system that was allowed because of the corrupted Civil Rights Act. Again, people will take that and they'll say that, oh, he's speaking out against the Civil Rights Act. He thinks that we should be segregated and no rights. Not what I'm saying at all. Those are the good parts of it. Those are the parts of it that we should keep. The parts of it we need to get rid of are the parts that give an insane amount of free government services to Black America, essentially as reparations, and it has made Black America worse off by almost every single metric. We need to do what we can to empower all races in America, not bury them for future generations, which is what we've done to Black America with the Civil Rights Act. We thought we were helping them, But no, we actually hurt the demographics of the black community in America far more than helping them with the Civil Rights Act from the government handouts. I do want to go into our next topic today. Like I said, we are not going to stay on any single topic too long today. We talk all the time about housing prices in the United States, about the economy, about the fact that your dollar and my dollar is worth shit. It has been extremely devalued over time. The government does not care about bringing value back to the American dollar. Republicans, Democrats, no matter who it is, whether it's Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, or Biden, they all spend way too much money. They print way too many dollars. They send way too much money overseas. They use way too much money on immigration. They use way too much money for everything. We need to limit our government spending. We need to have fiscal accountability in our government. And we need to do what we can to make it affordable for people in this country to buy homes again. Millennials and under are struggling to buy homes. It is becoming a huge problem in this country. We talk about BlackRock lobbying in our government, buying all the single-family homes along with other asset managers, and how we need to stop asset managers from the monopoly they've created around single-family homes. Another massive problem that is being reported, and the data is being released today, that $56 billion worth of homes have been purchased by foreign buyers just within the last year. So foreign nationals, not even citizens of America, are purchasing our homes. They are making it so we are not able to afford homes in our own country. 83% of these homes are under $1 million, and over 58% of them are under $500,000. These are single-family starter homes. These are homes that I should own. These are homes that people in my family should own. These are homes that you should own. These are homes that everyone around in the Gen Z, millennial generations, and the future generations to come should be able to own. But we will never be able to own these homes because our government refuses to stop allowing lobbying to ruin that. Our government refuses to lay down the law that foreign nationals are not allowed to buy American land or American houses anymore. Maybe if they want to create a law around vacation properties, that's a different thing. But to say that foreign nationals can buy $56 billion worth of single-family homes in the United States is absurd. It is a dystopian reality I do not want to live in. I do not want my country to be invaded. I want my country to remain America. We need to stop legal immigration, stop all illegal immigration. We need to return to population growth through birth in this country. We need to build on American values. We need to bring home ownership back to being an American. It was the American dream to have a job, to have a home, to build a family, and to provide for your wife and children, and to build a better life for your children. They twisted what it meant with the American dream to mean it meant being an immigrant coming into this country and taking an American's job. That's not the American dream. That is the Mexican dream. That is the Pakistani dream. That is the Haitian dream. That is not the American dream. The American dream, like I said, is having a home, having a family, building a family, leaving generational wealth to your children in some way. That is the literal American dream that they are stripping from our bare hands. They are taking it from us, but we are not going to let it go without a fight. We will put up a fight. We will stop lobbying. We will stop the corrupt government. We will speak out against the corruption with our politicians, our House and Senate representatives, the executive branch being corrupt in the cover-up of Epstein. All the lack of transparency that we're getting. They said they're releasing the MLK files, but we won't even find out till 2027 if the stuff we're seeing in there is true. They're not transparent. They do not have your best interest or my best interest in mind. We are going to take this country back eventually. American nationalism is on the rise. We talked about this poll last week, and I'm going to briefly bring it up again. But they said Donald Trump's approval rating from before to after Epstein went from 56 to 27% among the younger generation, among my age individuals. They said that people are shifting to the Democratic Party, but what they do not realize is they are so fucking wrong. We are not going to the Democrats, baby. We are just way more far right than you ever thought. We want American nationalism. We want this country back. We are the true conservatives. We are the true people, the true natives of America. We built this land. We built this country. We came to a barren land and built the greatest country to ever exist to only allow it to start to get ruined as it gets invaded by corrupt politicians and people from all around the world, from third world countries. We need to stop this invasion. We need to stop foreign buyers from buying our single family homes. We need to stop them from taking our jobs with the HB1 visas. We need to stop allowing anyone into this nation that is not a gold card recipient, because they're taking your job, they're taking our jobs, they're taking our dollars, they're taking our homes, and they are ruining our culture. People say all the time, and they argue this, that America doesn't have a culture. America has always had a culture, it's just losing it. It's losing its culture because we're importing the entire third world. We have literal cities in Texas that run under Sharia law. We have cities in Minnesota that are filled with Somalians, almost only Somalians. These are not American things. We have a socialist who has Muslim practices taking over New York City. These are not American values. American values do not align with that and assimilate with that. We have people in this country who don't even speak English. I have neighbors who do not speak English. It is frustrating. Learn English if you're going to come to this country. Learn to assimilate. Even Hillary Clinton used to say that. Woke Hillary Clinton even used to say, if you're going to come to America, you're going to learn English. You need to learn English. We don't have a second language that is Spanish. Again, some jobs may require you to know 2 languages, but this is America. You learn English when you immigrate here. And we don't want you to immigrate here at all. We want American nationalism. And it's not even about the immigrants themselves necessarily when it comes to why we don't want immigrants. We don't want immigrants because we don't want them taking our jobs. We don't want our dollars being wasted. Every dollar we have right now that our government has printed should be spent towards American values and building up America. It should be spent on American citizens, American-born citizens. Why is it that people who come into this country illegally and legally get more free shit from the government than any American-born citizen ever? Why is it that they abuse our systems? They go to the emergency room and don't pay their bills for that whenever they need to go to the doctor. These people take 5-star hotels in New York City and EBT cards. They are abusing the systems in Los Angeles and California. Los Angeles has a illegal population of 10%. That is insane. Like 30% of their entire state is immigrants. That's not America. That is just a mix of every other country. That's not what America was. That's not what America is. America is a beautiful land, a beautiful country with a shared culture, a shared heritage generally. Not always, but generally a fairly shared heritage. America is the most beautiful land in the world. It is the land I love and the land I want to protect. I want this country to be in the right hands. And for this country to be in the right hands, it needs to stop being in the hands of people with dual loyalties. We have countless politicians in our government who have dual citizenship, dual loyalties, who are taking money from foreign governments, from foreign lobbyists, who are allowing companies like BlackRock and other asset managers to purchase all the single-family homes, and now they're allowing not only the Chinese Communist Party to buy our farmland strategically around our military bases, but they are allowing foreign nationals to buy $56 billion worth of single-family homes in America. The politicians are selling you out. They're selling me out. They're selling America out. But like I said, we're not going to stand for it. We are going to take this country back eventually. By hell or high water, we will have this country back. We will have American nationalism back. Our founders will be proud of us. Think about our founders looking at us right now, looking at this movement we're starting, looking at what we're doing, looking at the fact that we want to have their values take priority. The things our founders wrote, the beautiful documents our founders wrote, the essays, the Declaration of Independence. All these things show what true patriotism is. It shows what America was supposed to be, that we're not supposed to be divided into these factions and parties, that we are not supposed to be giving all of our money away in foreign aid and importing the entire third world just to be nice. That's not what America is. That's not what America was founded on. And it is in America I want to continue to get away from. I do want to talk about some other topics. That was a pretty long rant there, but it's something I'm passionate about. I am passionate about the destruction of this country and saving it. I am passionate about America. I'm passionate about patriotism. I am passionate about the issues, and I can see the issues clearly. Like I said, it's the asset managers, it's the immigrants, the illegal and the legal. It is the corrupt corporations, the corrupt politicians, and the lobbyists. We need to get rid of these people. We need to remove them from any political roles, any influential roles within our government. Stop all dual loyalty within our government. Everyone within our politics should be American born and American only. I don't want anybody who has 2 passports to be in office. I don't want anyone who was born in Canada like Ted Cruz to be in office. I don't want Ilhan Omar in office. I don't want Zamdani in office. Same reason I don't want Elon Musk, even though I love the guy, to be in office. If you're not born in America, you do not deserve a seat in American public office. It is as easy as that, and that is not a controversial statement. You do not have the same ties to the country you have as the one you were born in. If you were born in another country and then you immigrate to America and you come into American politics, you might favor the country you were born in. You might hate countries your old country was enemies with. You might not respect the United States alliances. You might go against them. You might not respect United States laws. We've talked about this before, but less than 30%, I think it's 24 to 27% of all legal and illegal immigrants who come into this country think that the Constitution is a good document and that we should keep it as is. The majority of them do not accept free speech. The majority of them do not like guns. The majority of them do not accept the Constitution and want to change it. We shouldn't allow people to immigrate in this country who want to change our founding documents. How about go back to your own country and change your fucking documents there? Change your own founding documents. Don't touch mine. Don't touch my country. Don't touch my jobs. Get the fuck out and go fix your own country if you want to change the laws. Don't come to my country, try and change the laws to make them more like your shit third world country, because then America is just going to end up to be another shit third world country. I don't want that. Nobody should want that. We are going to go on to that next topic, like I said. Trump has officially announced that the entire thing with Obama was just a fucking hoax, essentially. He paraded around that Obama was going to be arrested. He even posted an AI video of Obama getting arrested, that Obama created the Russian hoax in 2016, that him and Hillary conspired together in a treasonous act, a literal word-for-word quote from Donald Trump's mouth, a treasonous act against the American people in public by Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. But guess what? According to Donald Trump today, and I reported this multiple times, I said, I don't know why Donald Trump's even doing this. Nothing's going to come of it. We want to see arrests, but we're not going to get any because Obama has immunity. Obama has immunity. Obama cannot be arrested. I say this all the time. Presidents aren't going to get arrested. They just don't. You know, they had the witch hunt against Trump for a while with those felonies. But in general, presidents do not get arrested. The unitary executive theory says the president can do whatever he wants. He could take a shit on your lawn, slap you twice, go home and sleep fine about it. And it does not matter, technically, legally. That's not how they're saying he's getting off in this, but it proves my point that it does not matter what the president does technically while he is in office. Technically, by the law, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, George Bush, any of these people were able to do whatever they wanted. It's how Dick Cheney was able to get away with so much corruption, how Joe Biden was able to pardon his entire family, how every president is essentially able to push their agenda through against Congress's wishes. I don't agree with this. I don't think it's correct that that exists, that the president has that authority, although I do think the president should have more authority than it seems they have in some instances, but absolute immunity seems ridiculous, and the fact that we will never see an arrest of Barack Hussein Obama because of this immunity is, again, it's deplorable. It is dumb. It is everything Donald Trump was against in 2016. Donald Trump in 2016 was against the deep state. He was against the shows and parades. He wanted actual arrests, and he was clear about that. And we have not got a single one since he got elected. We didn't even see Hillary get arrested in 2016. And I doubt we'll see Hillary get arrested after we see the testify from Ghislaine or from Hillary and Bill. We talked about how Hillary and Bill are going to testify soon. That will actually be very, very... I am So looking forward to that. I'm very interested by the Clintons' time in office and by their relationship in general. They actually had a great FX series about it, similar to the O.J. Simpson series. It was made by the same people, but it was about the Monica Lewinsky scandal with Bill Clinton. I do think Bill Clinton is as guilty as it gets, but every time Donald Trump, throws Bill Clinton out there, throws this Obama hoax shit out there, it's him just trying to distract the media from the fact that he is most likely in the list, that he is most likely guilty, that he is in these files. Obama having immunity is a slap in the face to the American people. It's a slap into the face to Donald Trump's efforts to try and hide the fact that he's in the files and bury the fact that there is a cover-up going on, because like we've talked about, he is flooding the media with every possible topic, the biggest headlines possible. He's throwing all his chips out right now, going all in, trying to bury the fact that he's covering this up. And Obama, being revealed to have immunity, is blowing a lot of that up for him. I do want to go on to some of our next topics. Our government did something pretty wild over the last week. Our government has done a very tremendous job at getting us into debt and bringing this country to shit. They have done a very good job at devaluing our dollar, at stealing American jobs. They have done a good job at raising the national debt, doing nothing to fix it, and constantly raising the debt ceiling. And I've talked about on the show, what is the point of a debt ceiling if it keeps getting raised? You don't just raise your ceiling of your house every 6 months just because you feel like it. Why do you raise the debt ceiling? That destroys the point of a ceiling, to have, it continuously get raised. But the federal government today opened a portal online open to everyone in the world, but specifically advertised to Americans, for us to pay down the national debt. These fucking idiots, they don't know how to do it anymore. They have lost all control financially. They don't know how to fix the problem. So guess what? They turn to old reliable to bail them out, the American people, the American taxpayer who bails the government out every year with the problem that they have created. I've talked about this before, but 39 cents out of every dollar that you pay and I pay in income taxes goes towards their interest alone, not their principal. We are bailing them out with our tax dollars every year. We could stand up against the government by not paying taxes or not voting one year and showing them that we're not going to stand for politicians who refuse to pay down the debt. But that most likely will not happen. It is hard to organize millions of Americans to do things like that. There are people who have made payments already on this, which is surprising. I went ahead and double-checked that this was real when I saw it and not someone just trying to steal your money. It is real. You can pay down the national debt with Venmo and PayPal now, as ridiculous as that sounds. But people have sent about $800,000 as of this morning. I'm sure by now it has raised. This was only given publicity over the last couple days. But there had been 6 different individuals who had sent about $800 total $1,000 within hours, within minutes probably. I actually have to look at the national debt by the minute, how it goes, but I'm sure that everything they paid was added right back to it, that it was essentially worthless. We could have millions of Americans all, paying little by little, a few dollars a day, something like that, and even some of the higher earning individuals paying some money to get this debt down. But why should we be the ones to do this? We are already paying down the debt with our taxes. We are taxed in every way. You make a purchase, it's taxed. You pay your taxes on your paycheck. You pay your taxes at the end of the year. You pay taxes in everything you do. You take a piss, you take a breath, you take a nap, you pay some taxes to the federal government. Why should we be paying down the national debt when we are already doing that with our taxes and our government refuses to fix the problem themselves? They refuse to make it better. They only make it worse. The only time they even acknowledge the issue is for political gain. And when I say they do it for political gain, they don't do it to fix it for political gain. They do it to throw it in your face saying this candidate is going to make shit more expensive by printing more dollars, and then nothing ever gets done. No matter who gets elected, they both end up printing more dollars. They use it as a political manipulation tactic. It is propaganda being pushed to the American people. It is disgusting and despicable. It is lies. And now the government is looking to us to bail them out. Old reliable, the American people, the people who won them the Revolutionary War, the people who they look to time and time again when shit hits the fan. Oh yeah, we're here. Old reliable, old beautiful. The Americans, the patriots. But fuck you. I'm not giving you a red cent. There will be some people who will, and I respect that and commend that. And I think people who do have the extra money to fuck around with, why not? Go for it. Pay down some debt for us. But I think it is disgusting that our government is asking us for these handouts. It is despicable. Our government sent $300 billion to Ukraine. We have sent in total about $300 billion to Israel. We send $3.8 billion on average to Israel a year. We send foreign aid all over the fucking world. We allow immigrants to mass import into our nation. We had bailouts for the airlines, bailouts for the banks. Our government completely fucked the citizens and bailed out all the corrupt corporations during the 2008 housing crisis. Fuck these people. They are corrupt. They are terrible. They don't have our best interests in mind. They just want your money. They want more corruption. They will never vote against laws that make it worse for them. They'll never vote so they can't trade or can't be corrupt. They will always be corrupt. That is why they're getting into office. One day, like I said, by hell or high water, we will take this country back, make America America again. We will bring back American nationalism. We will restore the American dollar, paying down the national debt, removing legal and illegal immigrants from the country, restoring to what America is and was, and having pride in American values, American nationalism, being a patriot, having a society that has assimilation, where everyone speaks the same language, where we are not afraid that people from other nations are going to buy our homes, steal our jobs, or corrupt our politicians. This is the America we need and the America we are losing right in front of our eyes. I do want to talk about our last couple topics for the day before we check if there's any headlines that have popped up. This one is fucking ridiculous. Let me take a sip for this one. I mean, this is just... Women do shit like this. Women create these Facebook groups. They create these social media groups, these back page platforms that are we dating the same guy? Give dirt on your ex, etc. It's drama, it's bullshit, it's insecure women. Right now, the number one trending app on all iPhones, on the iOS marketplace, on the Apple marketplace, is an app called T. It is an app for women exclusively. Literally, to be on the app, to even get on it, you have to verify with a selfie that you are a woman. So men cannot go on the app. The app is for women to rag on men they've dated, to expose men they've dated who are bad, and to give advice to women about men to stay away from. You can imagine that the women using this are the most insecure women, that they are the women who have the least amount of happiness in their life, love in their life, that they are miserable, that they want nothing more than to ruin people's lives. And sure, there are probably some people on the app who aren't like that. Maybe there are a couple instances of women who were sexually assaulted, or women who were cheated on, or women who, just felt violated by certain men and want to genuinely let other women know that they should watch out. 4chan, the famous hackers, hacked this app. We knew some shit like this was coming. When you have an app like this, when you have something like this, it is bound for the incels to come for it. The incels came right for it. Like I said, 4chan hacked it. 4chan released the verification pictures of all the women who signed up for this app. They even released a map showing where all these women are located. And like we guessed, you could guess it and I knew it, the majority of these women, the overwhelming majority of these women need to eat a little less, work out a little more. The overwhelming majority of these women, they fit in that 300 to 600 club. They are the women you would expect on this app, the women who hate men, the hyper-feminists, the bulls as you would call them, the big women. The big women. It is crazy the amount of weight on this app alone. I mean, it broke every scale in the world. The fact that this hack happened is not surprising at all. This is, like I said, very expected when you have a male-only or female-only exclusive platform. You could expect a hacker from either side of the aisle to go right for it. There are talented female hackers and very talented male hackers. 4chan is one of them, obviously, but the incel community was not going to tolerate men being slandered on this. Like I said, the majority of the men being posted on these platforms were men just being slandered, men that women had either met on a dating app and never met up with, women just wanting to talk shit about men, women spreading lies about their exes, very insecure, very unattractive, manipulative women who were on this app. That's pretty much all the major topics we have for today. It's been a great show. I do want to go over all our topics that we've been over today. We talked about the 100,000 unreleased files that they still have and are sitting on in the FBI of the Jeffrey Epstein case. They will never release them, but they should. We talked about the inscribed book from Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein, where he said that you are the greatest, with Donald Trump's irrefutable signature at the bottom. We talked about Ghislaine returning to jail after her meeting with Donald Trump's personal lawyer, after day one returning with a box full of files, and after day two, she is asking the Trump administration for a full official pardon. She gave over 100 names linked to Jeffrey Epstein and co-conspirators in the sex crimes after Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, and Cash Patel all confirmed publicly and said publicly explicitly that there was no co-conspirators. So they essentially just did not do their jobs, did not interview Ghislaine, did not interview the one woman who was involved in the entire thing, who is rotting in jail for the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein. We have Donald Trump signing an executive order to clean the homeless people off the streets, put them in mental institutions, and rehabilitate them and reintegrate them into society. Like I said, this is a great idea as long as we are able to reform what the asylums actually look like. These were very terrible places back in the day with very terrible, violent practices that we need to remove. We talked about MLK possibly being guilty for sitting in the room while one of his friends raped a woman and he laughed, and all the other negative things that have come from the Civil Rights Act. While the Civil Rights Act itself, giving equality to all individuals, is great, the constant government handouts and the bailouts that they have given in the form of reparations that have absolutely decimated black culture and black society in America. They have dropped the fatherhood rate, raised the crime rate, dropped the graduation rate. By every metric, black America is doing worse now than they were before the Civil Rights Act. And it's not saying go back to that. It's just saying remove the parts of the bill that keep black America stuck, that keep them in Section 8, that keep them on food stamps, that keep them unemployed, addicted to drugs, and committing crimes regularly. We talked about foreign buyers and asset managers purchasing all the homes, but foreign buyers with new data showing that they are purchasing 83% of homes under $1 million, 55% of homes under $500K, $56 billion worth of homes total in the United States. They stopped them from buying the Chinese national and farmland, but now they need to stop them from buying single-family and all-family homes outside of vacation homes and rentals in the United States. We talked about Donald Trump saying that Obama has immunity on the subject of the Russia hoax, and how Donald Trump pushing that out there is a hoax itself. A hoax is a hoax until there's an arrest, and there are going to be no arrests with Obama, with Hillary, with any White House official staffs from the Obama administration, because none of that matters to them. We have the federal government opening up a portal to pay down the national debt via Venmo and PayPal for the American people to get the debt down sooner. I'm sure there will be people who will pay this, and I thank you for your service to this nation for that. But fuck you to our government for putting it on the American people to take care of a problem that they should have not allowed to happen in the first place. We talked about the T-app being hacked, a bunch of overweight, insecure women who are complaining about men, and it's not to say that all of them are, but the overwhelming majority from the hack shows that's what it was. That's all our topics today. It was a great show for you tonight, everyone. We do want to check our topics to see, or headlines to see if there's anything that's popped up while we're filming the show. We do also have the release of Happy Gilmore 2, a well-expected movie, a movie that has been in the make. I mean, Happy Gilmore 1 came out, what was it, 1996 or something? So, wow. I mean, I am very excited to watch this tonight. I'm going to get some popcorn. I am going to have a great night watching Happy Gilmore 2. I hope it does not go woke. I can't expect it will. Adam Sandler is the king of a lot of this stuff. I love his acting. We're going to check if there's any headlines for today. Let me see if anything popped up while we were filming. It has been a crazy, crazy few weeks with this Epstein stuff, with everything going on with the burial. 4chan is still trending. I'm sure it's about the hack. Let's see if there's any new information about the hack. It does not look like there's any new information beyond what I've already reported on the hack. Bill Clinton is trending. Okay, let's see where this goes. It's because Donald Trump today said that Bill Clinton had been to the island over 28 times. He called him out on live TV. Again, it means nothing unless we see an arrest. I'm tired of Donald Trump calling people out only to never arrest them. Right now, $5,000 Doge is trending. That's interesting because, I mean, I do remember that, and I actually reported on that. They said that $5,000 checks would be going out to Americans for the Doge savings, the Department of Government Efficiency savings. Yeah, where are they? Where's my $5,000? Maybe I want to put it down to the Venmo, to the national debt, you know? Where's my $5,000, Don? We're not getting that. I mean, maybe, but I don't think we're actually getting that. If anything, maybe we would get a payoff from the tariffs, because the tariffs seem to be generating more income than anything. The tariffs are actually generating a tremendous amount of income for the United States. I will give Donald Trump that right now. Someone just sold 80,000 Bitcoin. Holy shit. One of the largest Bitcoin transactions ever to date. What is 80,000 Bitcoin worth? Holy shit. Okay, so we have that. We have a guy selling 80,000 Bitcoin. It doesn't look like we really have a ton else trending. Jerome Powell's trending. It's probably just about the renovations. Yeah, I mean, there's not much there about Jerome Powell. It doesn't seem like we have much more information beyond what we've already reported. It's been a great week for reporting. We've had a lot of good topics. We've talked about Epstein. We've talked about Ghislaine. We have talked about all the corrupt people in his cabinet. We've talked about immigration. We have talked about pretty much every single thing that's happened over the last few weeks. I'm going to sign off today. We've had a great show and a great week. Again, I'm your host, James Pascalides. Please remember to like, smash the follow button, leave a comment, send a super chat if you have any questions. I'm James Pascalides. I'm signing off today. I hope you guys have a blessed day, a blessed weekend, and I will see you guys Monday. And please remember, Ghislaine Maxwell will not kill herself. Thank you.